From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your Evening Update.
American Door Company has been family-owned and operated for over 29 years, supplying Northern California with quality garage doors, garage door openers, and installed with the best service you'd expect from a locally owned company. We serve all of Northern California from Willows all the way up to the Oregon state line. Give us a call today.
Well, good evening, everyone. We're still seeing some of those showers here this evening. The area of low pressure still spinning just to our south, but we're beginning to see signs of it shifting eastward. But that flow has been really hitting us directly in the valley here, giving us some pretty decent amounts of rainfall. And that chance for thunderstorms did pan out with a few lightning strikes out in Glenn County and a lot of lightning strikes off to the east into Nevada, and even a few lightning strikes into parts of Plumas and even into eastern Lassen County as well. All right, let's take a closer look at that radar. And as I'm recording this, just shortly before 5 o'clock this evening, you can still see some of the showers that we are seeing. They're going to be working their way northward, and we'll continue with more showers, that is, and could even see some brief periods of moderate to heavy rainfall. But this is expected to eventually break up in drier conditions by tomorrow. Now, take a look at some of the rainfall totals over the last 24 hours. Quite honestly, a bit more than I was anticipating. I saw the forecast models anticipating about an inch of rain on average, and I decided to kind of back down on that a little bit here at about a half inch to 3/4 of an inch. Obviously, I was a bit off there, and you can see the models were actually in pretty good agreement and alignment with the fact that we did see, for the most part, over an inch in most cases for the valley, turning out to be a pretty good day of some rainfall. But as expected, you head out of the perimeter of where the valley is and you see less and less rainfall, especially for the coast. We're still out towards Crescent City. No rain reported there, but to the north, upwards of 10 to even 2/10 of an inch of rain just north of Crescent City. All right, let's take a look at your Krueger's Quick Cast for your Wednesday, February 11th. And for tonight, we'll be looking at a few isolated showers here and there. But by the time we get into tomorrow morning, most of that will be out of here. We take a look at out the door tomorrow morning. As mentioned, we'll be looking at dry conditions to start off the day. Still a few clouds, a little bit of fog from that leftover moisture from the rain that we've seen here. But overall, we're looking at a cool start to the day. Now, we have that area of low pressure, as mentioned, that's been to our south yesterday, moving through today, and should be out of here and to our east by tomorrow. Behind that, a ridge of high pressure builds in, and that's going to mean drier conditions and warmer too. So let's take you into tonight. There you can see around midnight tonight, still a few leftover showers here and there, but you can see it's just really beginning to break apart. Then by tomorrow morning, it's all pretty much done with, and we'll still see some clouds up there tomorrow afternoon, but should remain dry. All right, so temperatures should be a bit warmer, low to mid-60s in the valley, 50s for most of the higher elevations, and there you can see for the coast, you're looking at temperatures somewhere in the mid to upper 50s. All right, let's take a look at that 7-day forecast. Should be drying out through Saturday. Sunday is our next chance for rain. And then we continue off and on chances for rain for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and back to those cooler temperatures too. For the coast, you're looking at that rain returning on Sunday as well. More showers continue for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and snow levels are getting a lot lower, folks. Still about 4,000 feet on Sunday, but by early next week, down about 2,000 to 2,500 feet in Trinity County. For Siskiyou County, you're down to about 2,500 to 3,000 feet, as well as Modoc County and the Eastern Mountains. So much colder storm systems moving in by next week. All right, that was a look at your Krueger's Quick Cast. Before we get into the deeper dive, here's what we're going to be talking about. Drier and warmer conditions here for your Thursday, Friday. Saturday, not as warm, but still dry. Valley highs will reach the mid to upper 60s by your Thursday and Friday. Now, rain and mountain snow returns Sunday into next week. As I mentioned, much lower snow levels, which will impact that mountain travel. We're going to talk about all of that in your deeper dive forecast, sponsored by Shasta Hearing Aids.
Hearing loss can creep in little by little until one day you realize something's been missing. It's not about things being louder, it's about the moments that slip by. The joke you didn't quite catch, the quiet I love you, or the conversations with your kids that deserve the full attention. At Shasta Hearing Aids here in Redding, we believe hearing aid care should feel personal. Through compassionate care, a comprehensive hearing aid screening, and technology tailored to your lifestyle, we help you reconnect to what matters most. Schedule your free hearing aid evaluation today.
All right, so we're going to get into that deeper dive. We're going to start off with our satellite image here. So if you look, see the spin of low pressure. It's been a slow-moving system. And quite honestly, it's been kind of stalled out here today, which is a little unexpected, and the reason why we saw a little bit more rainfall than expected. So the flow around this area of low pressure, it really just drew that moisture directly, kind of that direct hit right into the valley. And it's the valley that really saw the bulk of the rainfall. And then you kind of go outside of that perimeter of the valley, especially east, west, and north, you saw less and less rainfall, and really didn't see much in the way of rainfall for many of you along the coast. So let's take a look at the overall trend going into the next several days. And we go into the weekend and early next week. So there's that area of low pressure. That's pretty much just moving off to the east and dying down. By Thursday, Friday, high pressure builds in. That's going to be the warmer weather, but still some clouds, but at least we'll be drying things out. Dry through Saturday. And then the system on Sunday, I've been seeing this in the trends, that the model kind of going back and forth on the timing of when Sunday's system moves in. We're back to it kind of holding off until Sunday evening, Sunday night, whereas yesterday the models were in pretty good agreement that they'd be in there by midday and everyone would be seeing that rain, and now it's kind of backing off. So I'm going to keep my 7-day forecast as is and keep that chance for rain for everybody on Sunday, but just note that we're still watching the timing here as we do go into Sunday and into Monday. But bottom line, as we go into next week, much colder air coming in from the Gulf of Alaska. With the next storm system right here, you can see that colder air moving in. And that's what's going to lower the snow levels down to as low as 2,000, possibly 2,500 feet, watching that pattern here very closely. Then, of course, that'll kind of shift off to the east. High pressure may build in briefly behind that as well. So looking at futurecast, once again, you can see that really things tapering off by tonight, and by tomorrow, just some partly cloudy skies, especially for the higher elevations, but dry across the board. Friday, mostly sunny skies, still some fog along the coast. Saturday, some clouds moving in. Saturday is the transition day before we start to see that chance for rain kick in. There's Saturday around noon. Now we'll take you into Sunday. Now again, this model is maybe a little off, but there you can see by Sunday morning, it is showing some of the showers here for the north coast, and then rain coming in behind that. That should all be shifting through the east on Sunday, giving us a shot for some more wet weather. In fact, there you can see by Sunday 5 p.m., now it's really beginning to fill in, but as you can see, still dry through most of the day here for the eastern mountains, eastern Siskiyou County, Modoc County. But again, we're going to have to watch the timing of this here as we go into the next few days, because there's a very good chance that this may come in a little bit sooner than what you're seeing here, and everyone would be looking at that chance for some rain. Snow levels will start off still fairly high on Sunday, around 4,000 feet or so, before that next shot of colder air moves in behind that. So looking at the rainfall totals through 5 p.m. Sunday, well, as you can see, it's not going to be very much. It's really not until we start getting into next week that we'll start measuring higher amounts of rainfall, and not to mention snow. We're not going to be looking at much more on top of what we've already seen. What we're seeing here, that's what's coming in here late in the day on Sunday. But as I mentioned, still fairly high on Sunday, around 4,000 feet before they start to drop significantly by Monday and Tuesday. So that shot of cold air that we've seen with this storm system that moved on through still cut those snow levels fairly high, though, 4,500 to 5,000 feet. Drier, warmer for your Thursday, Friday. There's that warmer air moving on in, and then another shot of colder air. So initially on Sunday, that pocket of colder air is not in here just yet, but by Monday, Tuesday, we're really seeing that cold air move in, and then we see another reinforcing shot of cold air move in for your Wednesday, and then by Thursday, Friday, that starts to shift off to the east, and maybe high pressure building back in again. And you can kind of see that trend, right? As we do have those warmer temperatures Thursday, Friday. Temperatures start to dip over the weekend, even more so. There's that really big shot of cooler air. And there's a chance, even in the valley, you may struggle to get out of the 40s. But then as we go into Thursday, Friday, we start to see a weak ridge begin to build back in, and that may increase our temperatures again towards the end of next week and into that next weekend. Wave heights don't look to be increasing a whole lot here for tomorrow, but we may see quite an increase on Friday. We'll have to watch that for that potential for more small craft advisories. In the meantime, we take a look at your neighborhood forecast, sponsored in part by Dignity Health. For your Thursday, we're getting a break from the wet weather we've seen here. Temperatures are going to be on the increase for your Thursday and Friday. 58 degrees in Rio Dell, 59 in Blue Lake, and 58 degrees in Alder Point. Up to the north, about 59 degrees for Gasquet, 61 for Smith River, 58 in Orleans. Out towards Siskiyou County, you've got temperatures in the 40s and 50s for your highs, 52 for Wairika, 50 in Etna, and 51 degrees for Mount Shasta City. Out towards Modoc County for your Thursday, temperatures are going to be in the 40s, 49 for Tule Lake, 48 in Alturas, and 8 in a high of about 49 degrees. And for your Eastern Mountains neighborhood forecast, 40s and 50s there, 56 in Shingletown and Paradise, about 58 degrees. Here's your Valley neighborhood forecast to the south. Should be somewhere in the low 60s. We've got that next shot of rain coming in Sunday, and especially for early next week. Valentine's Day should be dry with a high of 56, and we're back in the low 50s by early next week. Up to the north, a high of about 64 degrees for Redding, as well as Anderson and Cottonwood, 63 degrees in Red Bluff. Let's take a look at that 7-day forecast for Redding, and we've got temperatures in the mid to possibly even upper 60s for Thursday and especially Friday, and then temperatures start to drop again, low 50s by Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. All right, have yourselves a great evening. I'll be back again tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. and live on Coffee with Krueger at 6:30. Have a great night.